Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to another episode of Art 101 with me, Mr. Burgher. Today I want to speak on one of the greatest Impressionist artists that's out there, one of the great masters of Impressionism that is unfortunately not as revered as some of the others, but he was definitely responsible for leading the Impressionists in the direction that they went. That's an artist by the name of Camille Pissarro. When we think of Impressionist artists, names like Monet, Cézanne, and Toulouse-Lautrec all come to mind very quickly. But unfortunately, Camille Pissarro has become a bit of a footnote to the Impressionist artists. As the originator of the landscape painting style, Camille Pissarro was the wise master that many sought advice from. He was born on the island of St. Thomas in the Virgin Islands in 1830. His parents owned a dry goods store, and his family would send him off to boarding school right outside of Paris. Over his career, there were many teachers that would influence him. It is said that the most influential was the man that ran the boarding house in Paris. So the story goes, he's the one that taught him how to draw and become the artistic visionary that he was. By the time he reached the age of 22, he was pretty confident that he was going to pursue art as his profession. Many art teachers would advise him to be observant of nature and work with small sketches, and to focus on tonal values in his artwork. Within 8 years of pursuing art with these fundamental ideas in mind, he was first accepted into the French Salon for exhibition. He would be accepted into that show another 6 times over his career, but there would be a dry period. He would apply every single year, but for the next 5 years he would be rejected. On the 5th year of rejection, he was invited to be a part of the 1863 Salon des Refusés. The following year he would again be accepted into the Salon. His work in France was interrupted by the Franco-Prussian War. During that time, he had moved to London, England, for about 2 years. Once he got home, there were many things to rebuild. His house was ransacked by the Persian army, and over 1,400 paintings were destroyed. His earliest works were gone. He had to rebuild his collection of artwork that he had amassed over the years. Pissarro, along with Claude Monet, Alfred Sisley, and Pierre-Auguste Renoir, worked together to organize themselves by creating a society of independent artists that could continue to host exhibitions outside the Paris Salon. Eventually, this group would be called the Impressionists. On April the 15th, 1874, the Impressionists would hold their first official group show. In that show, Pissarro entered 5 paintings, all landscapes, and he would be noted as the only artist to take part in all 8 of the official Impressionist shows from 1874 through 1886. Generally speaking, the public and critics all hated the show from 1874, but the artists were motivated to move forward. He was a major figure from the very beginning of this group. Even when he couldn't sell a single painting and he was near poverty, he refused to sell out to the Salon ever again. Artists that include Paul Cézanne and Paul Gauguin went to Pissarro for advice. He was the wise gentleman, the father figure. He opened their minds to learning. In one series, he was very dissatisfied with his work and went to George Seurat for advice on pointillism approaches. The pointillist painter was very eager to help him. Pissarro loved painting nature, and he was a very consistent painter with his approach. There are many great examples of his landscape work, and also lots of really great examples of portraits that he created as well. In many of those landscapes, he would prefer to place people into the composition. This is something that strayed from what most Impressionists would do. Most Impressionists didn't have the desire to place people into the landscapes, but Pissarro usually did things as he saw fit. Pissarro was a great educator. He gave lots of great advice to young artists. Here's a bit of that advice. Don't work bit by bit, but paint everything at once by placing tones everywhere, with brushstrokes of the right color and value while noticing what is alongside. Use small brushstrokes and try to put down your perceptions immediately. Observe the aerial perspective well, and from foreground to horizon, the reflections of the sky, of the foliage. Don't be afraid to put on color. Refine your work little by little. Don't proceed according to the rules and principles, but paint them how you observe and feel. One must have only one teacher, nature. With age came respect and appreciation for Pissarro and his ideas. In his mid-70s, he was selling his paintings and very much seen as a respected artist by his many admirers. He was very productive until his very end. Thank you very much for watching this episode of Art 101 with me, Mr. Burgher. I hope you enjoyed this journey through the life and times and art of Camille Pissarro. And I hope that you can join me on other artistic adventures. But hey, what do I know? I color for a living.